Hey guys, can you all see and hear me? Yes, everything is under control, it seems. A very good evening to everybody out there. Thank you so much for joining me. It's raining over here. It has been raining since morning. तो दिन तो वैसे ही बहुत अच्छा था, but I was just waiting for you guys to turn up so my day could be even better. So thank you for being the audience there. I hope I'm loud and clear. This is for CAT 2026. So 25 wale gate crashers. I request you all to sameto your saman and make an exit. Geetika, I think you are for 2025. You had cloudburst in your area, Yashvi. Okay. हमारे यहाँ तो पता नहीं क्या burst हुआ है मालूम नहीं, but it's been raining incessantly since morning today. सम्यक, आप भी प्लीज कटने के कितने पैसे लोगे ये बता दो. Everybody, CAT 25 वालों, please cut. Okay, but hang in there. Everybody hang in there before you leave the session. Hang in there. What are we doing in this session? The agenda is a quick revision of the different types of RC questions along with one passage, CAT passage. So in case you guys want to do a quick recap of all these techniques that you had learned earlier, you can stay back. सामान वापस रख दो अपना, मत लेके जाओ. Got it everyone? So 2025 वाले रुक सकते हैं, provided they don't make a lot of noise. Okay, Samyak, thank you so much for doing the Hazri. Thank you so much for seeing me today. All right. Okay, guys. Once again, welcome to the session. थोड़ा late हो गया motivational guru को ना it's okay. मुझे पता आप कहीं ना कहीं motivation दे के आ रहे होगे. हमें भी दे दो. Keshu, so good to see you after a long time. All right. So Keshu, this session is going to be very important for you actually because you joined a little late. थोड़ा revision चाहिए आपको. Okay. So we are going to discuss RC questions. This. Types of RC questions. Alright. And this is for CAT 2026 early batch. So those of you who are still thinking whether or not to start your prep, please go ahead and start with us because we are giving you a batch. We are giving you a lot of practice sessions. मतलब practice in the sense अभी जो होता है ना pre-warm up sessions जो कहलाते हैं वो है practice. So join कर लो आप और ये हमारे ये हैं जो practice sessions I'm saying ना CAT 26 का basic classes. We have been doing these. So ये वाला हो गया मेरा ये last week था ये हो गया. So today we are here 18th September. All right, RC question types and concepts. Okay. It was good read. Okay, Yashvi. So Yashvi, did you ask ChatGPT to abridge your passage or not? I mean, when I take a passage from Eon, I take the link, I give it to ChatGPT and I always say this, can you please abridge it for me? Compress it into like 500 words or 600 words. वो करके देता है. Then reading becomes all the more fun. Okay guys, everybody, weekend classes, you see here. अब अगले ये 2 क्लासेस बची हैं आपकी. ये फैकल्टी राउंड टेबल है, ये कल है हमारा. I think this is around 5 or 5:30 p.m. something. Oh, all right. So everyone, we are doing this. It will be short and crisp. Short बोले तो 60-65 minutes तक में we'll finish everything. सारा ज्ञान जितना आज का है. CAT 25 वालों, you want to revise? Just be there. 26 वालों, this is your early start. I'm going to show you what RC questions look like. Okay? And then we will discuss some genre and of course option patterns. Okay? Only CAT, good to see you. So, this is the sheet, the compilation for you. Take a look at this. See, when we talk about types of questions, generally we can divide them like broadly they can be divided into main idea questions, supporting idea questions, inference, okay, and tone title ऐसा. So 3 से 4 categories होती हैं और आजकल critical reasoning CAT दे रहा है. Right, so critical reasoning. What I have done is I have broken them down further into bits and pieces so you can understand every type of question very clearly. ठीक है? What does the question say? Question बाबू बोल क्या रहे हैं? So once you read the passage and you go over to the questions, if you are not able to understand what the question stem says, all the प्यारा बच्चों out there, बहुत time लगेगा फिर आपको उसमें. This will make you waste time on one question. Alright. On the other hand, if you see the question stem and instantly understand where you have to go, पैसेज में कौन सा पैराग्राफ, कहां पकड़ना है, कहां पढ़ना है, मेन आइडिया से कैसे कनेक्ट करना है, everything will fall in place in a jiffy. Okay, so we have these. Let's quickly run through these. CAT 2026, I want you all to put on your thinking caps, lend me your ears, and now let's roll. We have got something called main idea. Okay, you have got doubts, questions, anything in between you can ask. Okay, I'll pause, I'll reply to your queries. Otherwise, towards the end of the session, we can take up all the doubts together. All right, so main idea. Main idea is something that the author is trying to drive home. Drive home bole to, it's not his girlfriend that he's trying to drive her home. No. It's the main point, the crux, the essence of the passage. So, the hero of the passage can be global warming. The hero of the passage can be feminism. The hero of the passage can be consciousness. But what is the angle? Where is that one point? Like I remember, Kat had given one passage on travel writing. Just yesterday we did it in my 300 question countdown series. So there was a passage on travel writing. The first para spoke about mode of transport and the rest of the passage spoke about travel writing. So some people got confused and thought the main idea was mode of transport. No, it wasn't. That was just one small part. Okay, one mention. Then people thought the main idea was travel writing. But then travel writing say what? Connected with what? Oshmi, it's completely up to you. You want to note down, you don't want to note down, write on the walls, write on your heart, do whatever you want. Okay, so I was telling you that passage spoke about travel writing, but travel writing se kya connection tha? What was the angle related to travel writing? Travel writing was the hero, we understood. The angle was how representation was not given to women. It spoke about the Victorian era and some other eras. In fact, in every era, patriarchy has dominated. So how women were not given enough representation. So the travel writing was all for men. Men would go, they would go on trips and then they would write, we did this, we had a good time, we enjoyed, I rediscovered myself, it was good for my soul. Got it? So that was the main idea. So main idea is always located in the first and last paras of the passage. You put them together and you get the main idea. Sometimes it so happens it slips down to the second para. Sometimes. Alright? So that is done. Main idea का एक भाई होता है primary purpose. What is primary purpose? The flow of the passage. In other words, why is the author writing this passage? So you have to look at the flow of the passage. How? You will take the main idea and the first line of every para. Trust me, only those many lines will give you the primary purpose. So if there are three paras in which the author is talking female representation by way of travel writing, and there is one para that's talking about freedom of slaves. Obviously the main idea, the primary purpose is connected to what has been mentioned more. Okay, so primary purpose is flow of the passage, first line of every para plus the main idea, and you get your primary purpose. That is, in other words, what is the author trying to do? Why is he writing the passage? Then we have got title. Title is directly connected to main idea. So if you are given a title question, first take out the main idea, then accordingly go with the options and eliminate. So title can neither be broad nor narrow. Similarly for main idea and primary purpose, all these three types of questions, they cannot be broad or narrow. Okay, so broad or narrow बोले तो how? Let's say अब वो जो passage मैंने आपको बताया about travel writing, कोई कहीं गई जा करके उन्होंने लिखा, they came back and they wrote something in their diary, right? My soul felt liberated. So main idea, primary purpose, title will always be connected with the main idea, but let's say one option says the ship, the cruise in which many people died, or the flight in which there was something odd. So this can be related to one particular para. Okay, that becomes narrow. You got it? Narrow किसको कहते हैं? And broad will be what? Let's say उसमें आपका main idea में options मैंने दिया, travel writing पे है and female representation पे है. Option मैंने आपको दे दिया, trips around the world. Now don't you think that is too broad? Yeah, too broad. So too broad बोले तो you're just going kind of philosophical. Trip around the world, happiness, the basic ways of living, ये सब चीजें, that's like pretty broad. Cool. So we are done with that. So main idea, primary purpose, title, they are connected and like they cannot be broad or narrow. Then we have got tone question. Tone question आपको कैसे दिया जाएगा? Tone question is something like, what is the attitude of the author towards the two boys who are sitting on the last bench of the class? So it's like, you'll be given individual words, caustic, harsh, vituperative, sarcastic, optimistic, positive, analytical, descriptive, comparative, suggesting, suggestive, it can be anything. You need to up your vocabulary in order to be able to solve a tone question. So when you join my classes, regular classes, I'll be giving you a compiled list of certain tones. About 150 tones are there on that list. If you learn those words, you'll be good to go with the tones. उतने में से ही आ जाता है. For main idea, primary purpose and title, main idea, we'll be doing extensive practice. For primary purpose, I'll be guiding you to some material where there is a primary purpose question in almost every passage. ठीक है? So ये आपको help करेगा. Anyway, coming down to tone, so I was telling you I'll be giving out some worksheets and one compilation of tones, and the practice sessions with me will be helpful. Summary, what is summary? Summary is पूरा paragraph आपने पढ़ लिया, पूरा passage आपने पढ़ लिया. You have to come up with one sentence that actually encapsulates the entire paragraph. It cannot leave out the important points. So if there are examples in the passage, if there is data in the passage, that can be left out. But the main idea has to be there. A change of tone, however, but, nevertheless, in spite of, despite, these have to be included. Those points have to be there. If there is a conclusion, a suggestion, a recommendation, something for the betterment of the people in the last part, that has to be there. So, summary question is also connected with short summary. That's another topic of yours on the syllabus. So, summary के लिए what do we do? जब आप classes join करोगे, उसके बाद summary का I'll help you do PYQs. And summary के extensive worksheets हैं. जिसमें आपको ऑब्वियसली बिल्कुल क्लियरली दिखेगा कि किस तरह से यू हैव टू टेक द इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स, ठीक है। सो दिस इज डन। कंक्लूजन्स क्या होते हैं? Conclusions are like, you read the paragraph, you read the passage. On the basis of this data, on the basis of this info, can you deduce this? You know what deduction is. You read something and then you conclude from there. So conclusion is something that is based on the info given in the passage, and conclusion has to be absolutely true from the passage. It cannot be a far-fetched thing. Like, one example, if there's a company, let's say the company is Acer, ACER, and the company is selling, let's say, some electrical stuff. Then the company says, since we have had very good sales this year and last year, we are going to have very good sales 20 years from now. That is a pathetic conclusion. Does the paragraph support you? That every year you have secured your business in such a way that you are going to make profits every year? You don't know. So that will be a pathetic conclusion. I mean, that will be something very flimsy. On the other hand, if you conclude from the passage, on the basis of data and sales figures, we can say that the passage said that the company has made a lot of profits this year and last year. Okay, so you can conclude the company's bottom line has been shining for 2 years. You see this? So I rephrased what was given there. Bottom line is profits. Okay, I just rephrased that. So on the basis of the information given there, we can conclude that the company is safe when it comes to financial situation. Got it? That is conclusion. 100% something that you can deduce from there. Critical reasoning, strengthen and weaken. Critical reasoning assumptions are time taking. I will be teaching you these, but then I would always advise you can leave them in case you feel they are time taking. एक आध question आएगा. Strengthen weaken कैसा होता है? You are likely to get one question per passage. So we are talking about 4 to 5 questions here. 3 भी हो सकता है. 2024 में not many questions of critical reasoning were there. एक आध सिटिंग में किसी में थे 1 या 2 questions, but otherwise CAT was very lenient in 2024. These questions are generally time taking ones. So CAT में ये भी तो आपको देखना होता है ना कि which questions are guzzlers and which are the low hanging fruit. Low hanging fruit वो होते हैं जो आसानी से solve हो जाएंगे within 20 to 30 seconds. ऐसे questions spot करने की आपको capability develop करनी होगी. Right? True false. True false is CAT का favorite type. आप उठा के देखो CAT 2024. The paper is like filled with such questions. True false, agree, disagree. True false, agree, disagree. Okay. So true false is all of the following are true except. All of the following are false except. Which of the following is true? ये. The clue here is take a rough sheet, लिख लिया करो वहाँ पर TTTF और FFFT. This helps you understand कैसे करना है. मतलब clarity है. Then what happens in true false questions? You have to pick the options and you have to verify them. If the true false question is connected with a particular paragraph, like one paragraph, it becomes easier for you. But let's say the true false questions are random. I mean, the true false options are random, taken from like various paragraphs of the passage. What will you do? Then you need to pick each one and verify. वहाँ पे भी एक trick जाती है. Okay, you are supposed to pick those options जिसमें name, place, animal, thing, era, date ये नजर आए. Why? Because those options are easy to spot in the passage. Let's say एक option में Victoria कुछ लिखा है, एक ऑप्शन में philosophical एक heavy language है, happiness is sadness, sadness is happiness, उसको तो मैं नहीं उठाऊंगी. The other one which speaks about Victoria या Elizabeth या about Australian bandicoots, I can spot those words in the passage, so I'll pick that option, quickly go and verify. Got it? That is how you do true false. And true false में और भी बहुत सारे 5, 6, 7 और techniques होते हैं, छोटे छोटे fine points. I'll be teaching you those when you come to the classes. Agree, disagree, similar to true false. Okay. Inferences है सबका बाप. Inferences is base, bottom, foundation. Okay. So every question, almost every question, whether it says critical reasoning, whether it says application, whether it says true false, whether it says main idea, for every type of question you have to infer. Infer simply means you have to read the portion in the passage, and then you have to rephrase it. You have to understand what it's saying. Your vocabulary should be like really good for inference questions. Why? Because question setters play this game. Let's say I'm setting your question paper and there is a particular paragraph. I will set a question here. I'll ask you the question, which of the following can be inferred from the passage. Okay, so you'll read the question and you'll understand this connects with the penultimate paragraph. Okay, penultimate is the second last. You go to the second last para, you read that zone and you come back and start eliminating. But the problem there, what the problem is, मैंने क्या किया? I have taken that particular point and I have changed the vocabulary. I have thrown in some synonyms and all, phrases, and I have rephrased and given you that as an option. So if your vocabulary is not up to the mark, you will not be able to do any kind of inference question. अब अगर direct inferences की बात करते हैं, तो the question can say which of the following can be inferred, what can we infer, what is the author trying to imply, वो एकदम direct inference है. But otherwise I told you, for almost every question, you have to keep your inference wala antenna high. Got it? So these are inferences, एकदम base level. इस पे बहुत extensive sessions दूंगी मैं, जिसमें like इसको कैसे समझना है, इसको कैसे समझना, ये vocabulary कैसे interpret करना है. All those will be done in the classes. Application based, you know what application based says? ये है based on the information given in the passage. Which of the following would depict travel writing? So for that you need to go to the passage first, read the travel writing part, your Victorian era travel writing, you need to go and read there, and then come back, and from these four options, the four options will be all external. कैसे होंगे options ये मैं बता रही हूँ. A study showed that so and so company did this. A boy who was crossing the road while he was coming back from school saw this. So इस तरह के examples होंगे, like instances उठा करके, some company, some data, some sample, one survey, a student, a child, ऐसा. So you have to read the concept, come back, and analogous questions इसी को कहते हैं, analogy वाले, similarity. I hope this is clear, right? So application based भी बहुत सारी practice हम करते हैं class में. Then specific info database is something very simple. You can solve it on your own, but again I'm telling you this is CAT. So CAT doesn't give you same words उतार करके नीचे, सिर्फ true false में देगा वो, वैसा दे सकता है. So when you have specific info or database, let's say the question asks you, what is the author's sentence about Robinson Crusoe indicating? You know that this is connected to Robinson Crusoe, who's there in the third para. You take that, you go there, you read 2 lines up, 2 lines down, जहाँ Robinson Crusoe है, and then you have to infer again. So what I'm saying is, although your specific info है, data-based है, whatever it is, you still need to infer there. Inference तो हर जगह है. Ubiquitous. Okay. Now, vocab-based. इस पे there are two schools of thought. Many people, many educators, many institutions, they say these days CAT doesn't give you vocab based. So vocabulary is not that important for CAT. आप करके ऐसे ही बिना उसके भी निकल सकते हो. I have an objection there. I'm not saying anybody is wrong, to each his own, but there are 2 points here. One, if your vocabulary is weak, you will not be able to understand the CAT passage easily, so it will take you a lot of time. The second point is, every year CAT has given vocabulary questions right up to 2024. कैसे देता है वो? ऐसे नहीं देगा जैसे आप सोचते हो ना, what is the meaning of the word paraphernalia? No. कैसे देगा वो question? Let's say the word paraphernalia is there in the passage. CAT will give you a question. What can be inferred about Paraphernalia ब्रैकेट्स में, इसमें एयर ब्रैकेट्स में देगा, paraphernalia mentioned in the 5th para. Inference question and vocab चाहिए. और कई बार ऐसा हुआ है, उसने दिया है अभी 24 में भी एक दो क्वेश्चंस थे. When the author says this, या homeostasis, what does the author refer to? So homeostasis का मीनिंग नहीं पता है, how will you take out the answer? क्या refer to what? So I'm saying vocabulary is superbly important. You have to up your game in that. वरना cat average, mediocre, VARC में तो ऐसे ही निकलेगा. Specific para कैसा होता है? I'll tell you. There can be a particular para in which there are various causes given. There can be a para in which there are various effects given. There can be a para in which there are various examples given. Okay, so the question can ask you, what can be inferred about Elizabeth and Victoria mentioned in the 4th para? Or what can be inferred about Socrates, Chomsky and who was there? Fala somebody, okay, Rene Descartes, as mentioned in the 3rd para. So you know that these examples are given in the 3rd para. You need to go there. This is para specific. वहीं पे आप limit करोगे अपने आप को, right? So that is one way of asking you specific para का. There can be certain causes भरा हुआ, certain reasons भरा हुआ, certain effects भरा हुआ. So that connects to one particular paragraph. ठीक है? And that makes your work easy. Figures of speech. Figures of speech में if you open on Google, you'll find unlimited figures of speech. Unlimited जरा ज़्यादा हो गया, लेकिन फिर भी बहुत सारे हैं. You don't need to read all those. So I'll be giving you, I think, 2 crisp sessions on this particular topic. Figures of speech, एक ही काफी है in fact. Figures of speech का एक होगा, fallacies of reasoning का एक होगा, और FIJ, fact inference judgment का एक होगा. So I'll be giving you these sessions. और ये जो आपको मैंने दिखाए हैं ना, ये types of questions. Yeah. In types of questions पे there will be various sessions including these passages and these types of questions. So निकाल करके I'll be coming up with ऐसा passage जिसमें ऐसे questions हैं, ऐसा passage जिसमें ऐसे questions हैं. Then when I give you your practice sessions, I'll make sure that I give you 3-4 passages जिसमें सारे के सारे questions डाले हुए हैं. You got it, guys? That way you will be able to flex your reading muscles, RC muscles, brain muscles and question muscles, and you will be able to see कहाँ पे क्या पूछा जा रहा है. Now I'm going to pause for a minute and you can ask me if you have any doubt related to whatever I blabbered so far. Go on, guys. बोलो, पूछो. I'm done with this sheet and I'll be taking you forward to one passage taken from, I think, CAT 2019. Yeah. Any doubts, guys, so far? Chats कहाँ चले गए आपके? Primary purpose and conclusion. Primary purpose is connected with the flow. The first line of every paragraph, Yashvi. And conclusion? Conclusion is something, conclusion is something that is connected with the main idea. Okay? Individual batch कैसा होता है, निखिल? You can't clear your CAT with only VARC, right? So if you are going to prepare for CAT, you may as well do it for all the 3 subjects. How to do better vocabulary, Khushali? 2 ways are there. One is you can start reading Word Power Made Easy by Norman Lewis. But there is a certain way of reading it. Otherwise, you'll get bored. So I have benefited from that book and many of my students have also sworn by the book. It's good. But the thing is, more relevant vocabulary can be done by way of reading. So you can take up 30 minutes of reading every day. A very simple way of reading and reading interesting stuff is to take a topic from somewhere, Scientific American, Smithsonian, Guardian, New York Times, Economist, कहीं से भी एक interesting topic ले लो, go to ChatGPT and ask it to give you a simple passage of about 400 words or something for you to read. This way you will develop that love for reading and slowly you will see your vocabulary will get better. How to tackle critical reasoning questions with practice. Okay, you have the book but you haven't read it yet. Critical reasoning is a type of question, Anavi. It's been a month. Tanisha, kahan chali gayi? Okay. Alright guys, chalo. We are done with this now. So, let's look at a passage now, everybody. Anavi. Strengthen, weaken and assumptions. These are parts of critical reasoning types of questions. जैसे Anavi, you get a paragraph, there is a claim there, and then the author asks you, the question setter asks you, which of the following would support the claim? Which of the following would weaken the claim? Okay. Norman Lewis better have word power made easy. Norman Lewis only cat क्या कहना चाह रहे हो तुम? Norman Lewis better have word power made easy. I mean, Norman Lewis ही तो author है. Word power made easy is the name of the book. Anavi, you will understand the difference between strengthen, weaken and assumptions when you start doing those questions with me. Okay? अभी के लिए ज़्यादा उसमें घुसो मत. हाँ तो वही तो मैं बता रही हूँ. Only cat, author. आप कह रहे हो नॉर्मन लुइस बेटर है वर्ड पावर मेड इजी. क्या समझूं मैं? तुम्हारा जनरेशन एक तो ऐसे ऐसे सेंटेंसेस लिखता है शॉर्टकट्स मार मार के कि उसके बाद मेरा वक्त बर्बाद जाता है उसको डिकोड करने में. आप लिख देते हो, आप बोलते हो मैम यू आर द एजुकेटर, यू आर सपोज्ड टू अंडरस्टैंड आवर लैंग्वेज. ऐसा भी नहीं है ना भाई, इतना टॉर्चर ना करो हम पर. ऑलराइट, चलिए गाइस. सो दिस इज वन पैसेज टेकन फ्रॉम कैट 2019. ऑलराइट, यहां लिख देती हूं मैं ताकि आपको याद रहे ये. ओके. हाँ, यशवी, ओनली कैट, कम ऑन. दिस इज अबाउट व्हाट? चाइनीज इन अपर इजिप्ट. आई, नैरेटिव टोन है. स्टाइल ऑफ द पैसेज इज नैरेटिव, राइट? ओके. सो as the first step we take a look at the passage and try to understand है किस टाइप का ये जो दुश्मन हमारे सामने खड़ा है. खतरनाक है, कम खतरनाक है, लंबा है, चौड़ा है, कमजोर एरियाज क्या है इसके, ये पता चलता है. So I don't start solving it right away. I take a look at it. तो दिख रहा है कुछ Chinese something he is discussing. As a man of language, issue essentialism. बेटा तू MOL की बात कर रहा है, चाइनीज की बात कर रहा है, एसेंशियलिज्म की बात कर रहा है. पहले तो क्लियर तो हो जाए, उसके बाद एम्पैथी की भी बात कर रहा है. ओके, सो दिस इज वन फिलोसॉफिकल पैराग्राफ एंड दैट इजीली लॉब्ड वर्ड ओरिएंटलिस्ट भी लेके आ गया. ओके, सो फॉर ऑल आवर करंट इंटरेस्ट इन आइडेंटिटी पॉलिटिक्स भी आ गया. तो खुद बहुत बड़ा कंफ्यूज्ड आदमी है, पता नहीं किसके बारे में लिख रहा है. सो आई जस्ट चेक दिस पैसेज लाइक दिस. अच्छा, किस बारे में है? चाइनीज है, मैंडरिन है, इजिप्ट है, ठीक ठाक लग रहा है, थोड़ा बहुत डेटा है, थोड़ी बहुत फिलोसफी है, अच्छा सा है. देन आई गो ओवर टू द क्वेश्चंस. ऑलराइट, आई हैव पर्पसली केप्ट इट इन ब्लू एंड व्हाइट जस्ट सो दैट इट काइंड ऑफ स्पार्क्स अप द पेज. व्हाट कैन बी इन्फर्ड? ये देख रहे हो आप, इन्फरेंस क्वेश्चन. ऑथर्स क्लेम. दिस इज अ वेरी कॉमन टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चन. स्पेशली जो फिलोसॉफिकल पैसेजेस होते हैं ना, ये तो फिलोसॉफिकल नहीं है, तो ये लिंग्विस्टिक्स से कंसर्न है, कनेक्टेड है उससे. सो स्पेशली व्हेन देयर इज अ फिलोसॉफिकल पैसेज, क्या होगा उसमें? क्वेश्चन सेटर क्या करता है? आसान खेल कैसे खेलेगा? आई विल टेल यू. क्वेश्चन सेटर के लिए आसान हो जाता है फिलोसॉफिकल पैसेजेस पे मेन आइडिया बनाना, टोन बनाना और स्पेसिफिक सेंटेंस लेके उसका इन्फरेंस पूछ लेना. गॉट इट? ये होते हैं क्वेश्चन सेटर के पैटर्न्स. सो विच वे इज ओरिएंटल inferred from the author's claim? This is specific inference. ये clear? इसी तरह से हर सेशन में when you join my classes, in every session I'll be giving you like I'll be showing you, marking it and showing you every type of question. So for like 15, 20 passages, you will be there, and I mean you will get these cues from me. After that you will be able to understand it on your own. Okay, next. Question 2. A French ethnographer, ethno is related to culture, decides to study the culture. Even if you don't know the meaning of ethnographer, it's given here. Ethnographer decides to study the culture. अब ethnographer कोई musician तो होगा नहीं, and he decides to study animals. No. So ethnographer decides to study culture of this. Which of the following is most likely to be the view of the author of the passage? View of the author of the passage is a typical conclusion question. Do you see my point, Yashvi? View of the author will be where? View of the author will be there in the first para or the last para, where he sums up everything in a beautiful way. Cool? So ये conclusion है, ये आपको पहचानना होगा with practice and with some sessions with me, of course. Alright, Yashvi? Then, the author's critics would argue that. Try to understand ये question क्या पूछ रहा है. Author has a viewpoint. Author का viewpoint है. By critics will say the opposite, right? So the author's critics would say that what? So these people would go against the author, right? So we are going to go against the author and look for things. So author का कौन सा ऐसा sentence है जिसके against वो जा करके कुछ बोलेंगे, right? So author's critics. It may so happen that there is one para devoted to critics. Very often it happens, Yashvi and Nikhil and Only Cat and Daniel. There is a para. The starting of the para says, however, critics point a finger. However, critics are not happy with this. Okay, so it's connected to para. Alright, then. According to the passage, which of the following is not responsible for language's ability to change us? What type of question? Which of the following is not responsible to change us? That means 3 are responsible. True, true, true. You're looking for 1. False. Do you see the point? Done? So, you know what? When we look at the questions first, how does it help me? बताती हूँ मैं आपको. It's like really helpful. Why? Because now when I go back and read my passage, I'll keep an eye out for critics. जहाँ पे होगा मुझे पता है कि वहाँ पर एक question है. Nigerian tribe, जरूरी नहीं कि Nigerian tribe हो, but view of the author, I'll keep an eye out for that. Okay, I'll look out for this sentence. Which way is Oriental? Cool. So now I'm taking you back to the passage and I'm giving you some time to just go through it, but just read this para. ये भी एक चीज है that I'll be teaching you how to read in a smart way. Instead of reading word for word, I'll teach you the important zones that are likely to connect with your answer. So जब आपका काम इतनी सी मेहनत से हो जा रहा है, why do you have to do the गधा वाला काम? इतना करूंगी. Yes? Come on. Now read the first para completely. When you come to the second para, please read the first 2 lines. Okay. The first para tells you what? Yashvi, Nikhil, for 2 years I tracked down dozens of whom? There is a person here. Chinese in Upper Egypt. So he spent time with some Chinese in Upper Egypt who were selling lingerie. Lingerie are what? Undergarments for women. In a deeply conservative region, Egypt. Egypt is what? According to dictionary meaning, Egypt is a Middle Eastern country. Right, Yashvi? So, in a deeply conservative region, where Egyptian families don't allow their women to go out or work or own businesses, the Chinese flourished And they were selling lingerie, something so private for women, and these men were selling that. How? Why? So how did these Egyptian men, the patriarchal men, allow the Chinese to interact with their wives? Egyptian families rarely allow women, okay, status, they didn't gossip and they kept their opinions to themselves. In a New Yorker article entitled Learning to Speak Lingerie, I described the Chinese use of Arabic as another non-threatening characteristic. I wrote, unlike Mandarin, that's Chinese language, Arabic is inflected for gender. Okay, and Chinese dealers who learn the language strictly by ear ka matlab sun sun ke. So they pick the local lingo, the way the people speak, often pick up speech patterns from female customers. So they know how the female customers speak because they've heard them speaking. So that makes it very easy for them to mix with these females despite the fact that it's a very conservative region. Yeah? Who is they? Okay, let's check. Describe the Chinese use of this. Arabic is this. Learn the language, often pick up. कौन सा वाला they आप बता रही हैं? Fourth, अच्छा ये they didn't gossip. Okay, the Chinese. यहाँ बोला है ना, dozens of Chinese in Upper Egypt. What are Chinese doing in Upper Egypt, Yashvi? They are migrants. They are earning their livelihood there, right? So they didn't gossip. The author is perplexed. How were they allowed to interact with the women and that to sell lingerie? Okay, so here he talks about how these people connected with those women by way of the lingo, the local language, right? Unlike Mandarin, something often from female customers. The last two lines of the first para are generally very important. So what do the last lines say? I have come to think of it as the lingerie dialect. Dialect is the local way people speak. And there's something disarming. This disarming means something that makes you put down your defenses. So let's say two women come to a Chinese and the Chinese starts showing them lingerie. The women can panic. The women can just call their husbands and tell them, inko maro, pito inko. But then the way these Chinese men speak the local language, the dialect, the women let down their defenses. This is what disarming means. About these Chinese men speaking in the feminine voice. So after reading the first para, if you start thinking that the passage is going to be on lingerie, or the passage is going to be on Egyptian men and women buying lingerie, you are mistaken. You really need to up your game in reading. इतना पहला पैरा पढ़ के इतना तो समझ में आ रहा, हर किसी को आना चाहिए. Author क्यों लिख रहा है ये पहला पैरा? What is he trying to drive home? He is trying to prove how the dialects of a place, local language of a place helps you mix with the people of that place and helps you kind of be one of them. This is what he's saying. Right? So we are done with the first para. After reading the first para, it should be clear in your head what the author is saying. नहीं हुआ, रुक जाओ वहां 5-10 सेकंड फिर से करो. When I come to the second para, please read only the first two lines. अभी आप देखो कैसे. When I wrote about the Chinese in the New Yorker is a article आया उसमें तो understood है कि कोई magazine या newspaper है. Most readers seem to appreciate the unusual perspective, but there is a change of tone. As I often find with topics, okay, people had trouble getting black, white quality. नहीं पढ़ रही अब मैं. यहाँ Orientalist देख लिया, Guardian ने कुछ लिखा, Colleague, okay, Minded an article, कुछ नहीं है. सिर्फ newspapers ने क्या छापा, New Yorker ने, Guardian ने, जाने दो. You really don't need to read that. Why? Because the main idea is clear and now you need to move on to certain other paragraphs that will talk about how people connect by way of language. Cool? So this para can be easily skimmed. This is what I call skimming. And I'll be displaying that in detail in your classes. Okay? Now, as an MOL, mother-in-law, MIL? No, MOL. So man of language, I also take issue with this kind of essentialism. You see here, this kind. Go back. What kind of essentialism? Okay, कुछ तो यहाँ पे बोला है. Essentialism पे कोई पैरा, कोई question as such नहीं है, थोड़ा सा आगे बढ़ सकते हैं. Okay, Empathy and understanding inherited traits. An individual who wrestles with a difficult language, थोड़ा सा पढ़ लो यहाँ पे clarity मिलेगी. An individual who battles with a difficult language can learn to be more sympathetic. He can be sympathetic, he can be empathetic. So here the author is giving you the benefits of learning local dialects. Got it? This learning process, embarrassments, you can skim a little bit and go down to the last line. And both the Chinese and the Egyptians welcomed me because I spoke their languages. My identity as a white male was far less important than my ability to communicate. So you can walk your way into people's hearts by way of language. This is what he has said here, and it should be very clear. And that easily lobbed word Orientalist, अगर इस पे question है तो आ जाना. Otherwise you can just ignore it and move on. What exactly something, okay? And here the question is given. Which way is Oriental? That is a question. So I know that I have to come back to this para and read it. Alright. Now the last para. I would always pay extra attention to the last para, especially if it's such a short one. Okay. For all of our current interest in identity politics, by up to identity politics pe bhi aa gaya. There's no corresponding sense of identity linguistics. Okay. So he's talking about identity politics and identity linguistics. Corresponding sense nahi hai. You are what you speak. The words that run throughout your mind, fundamental, okay. And sometimes it's healthy to consider human characteristics that are not inborn. After all, you can always learn another language and change who you are. So the author is giving you the importance of learning different languages, or kind of, if you're going to a particular place, how you can warm up, how you can make the people of that place warm up to you by way of language. Does it make sense to you guys? जितना भी मैंने थोड़ा बहुत आपको इधर उधर से रीडिंग करके बताया, I focused on the main idea. I focused on the first and the last paras, and then I showed you how to do a little bit of skimming. Right now you may find it a little weird, ऐसे कैसे इतना कम पढ़ करके, and like I may miss something. Skimming is not skipping. Skimming बोले तो you see the words here: Upper Egypt, Chinese experience, Arabic, local. Okay, and then here which way is Oriental. So you are keeping an eye on these things. Question hoga, we'll come back to this. Got it? Okay, chalo, let's move on to the questions now and see if we can actually solve at least 2 questions. Right? Oh, हाँ तो Oriental thing हमने नहीं पढ़ा ना यशवी, ये वाला which way is Oriental. Exactly, they had a question connected to that. So Yashvi, tell me one thing. You'll read it now. You'll go to the question. By that time you'll forget. Again you'll come back and read. Then again, in order to eliminate your options, you'll come back and read again. So 3-4 बार आप ये paragraph पढ़ती रहेंगी. इससे बेहतर है right now just keep an eye out for these points. दिख गया आपको, keep it in mind that it's there, and then when you go to that question, you can come back and read it. All right, it saves time. Every second is precious in CAT while the clock is ticking, and you just have 40 minutes with you for VARC. All right, which of the following can be inferred which way is Oriental? Now, there's one more thing that you can learn here. It's not necessary for you to do your questions in a particular sequence the way they are given. 1, 2, 3, 4 ही करूँगा मैं. ज़रूरी नहीं है. अब जैसे ये है, this is a very nice question. Okay, view of the author. ये भी अच्छा है, ये भी कर सकते हैं. Critics would argue, देखते हैं कहाँ पे है critics. Okay, not responsible. ना मैं inference वाले से ही I would like to start. ये. Which way is Oriental? Oriental ka, if you do not know the dictionary meaning, you may get a little confused here. All right. So now for this question, which way is Oriental? What does the author mean by that? I come to this para, and now we are going to read this, connect this with the main idea, and connect this with this preceding last zone. Go on, guys. Take a read, and then we'll go back to the question. If all of us now stand beside the same river, do you see here? I told you connect it with this. My identity as a white male was far less important than my ability to communicate. People were happy with the way I was communicating, so they forgot that I was white skinned. And that easily lobbed word, Orientalist, lobbed, segregated, discriminated. Orientalist. इन्वर्टेड में है, चाइनीज, ओ ये तो चाइनीज है, ये तो ओरिएंटलिस्ट है, चाइना, जापान, फार ईस्ट. Hardly captures the complexity of our interactions. What exactly is the dynamic when a man from Missouri, America, observes a Zhejiang, ये Zhejiang जाहिर सी बात है, पता चल रहा है चाइनीज है, selling lingerie to an upper Egyptian woman. Man from Missouri, me, बोला है ना उसने, I, observes this, आदमी कहाँ, इजिप्ट में. So it's a blend of these three different places, these three different people. इजिप्ट में है, वहां के लोग, चाइनीज सेलिंग लॉन्जरे, ये बंदा मिसोरी का ऑब्जर्विंग. राइट, नाउ यू रीड द लास्ट टू लाइन्स एंड आई टेक यू बैक टू द ऑप्शंस. Come on, guys. Question number 1. Can anyone give me the answer? ATX is saying 3. Do you see this word, alone? This is a trap. It's a red flag. I will be teaching you this in process of elimination. Okay, POE is what I call it, under which I teach you the various traps. Goodwill, alone, extreme, out. Okay. Now, globalization has mitigated cultural hierarchies and barriers. In that paragraph, was he talking about globalization? No. So this is out of scope. You're left with 1 and 4. Now decide, guys. Obviously, यहाँ बोला है Orientalism is a discourse of the past from colonial times, rarely visible today. Is he saying that? वो कह रहा है which way is Oriental? Yes, everybody, you got it correct. It is 1. Now I'll explain this to you, okay? Because this will help you in upping your inference game. Orientalist hardly captures the complexity of our interactions, okay? We are dealing in a new place, selling lingerie, patriarchal society. So complexity, so Orientalist doesn't matter. What exactly is the dynamic when a man from this observes this? If all of us now, all of us बोले तो आप और मैं नहीं, all of us बोले तो the man from Missouri, the one who's writing this, the Zhejiang आदमी selling lingerie, and the Egyptian people buying lingerie, and the husbands जो वहाँ पे आसपास थे, ठीक है, ये सारे लोग. So if all of us now stand beside the same river, speaking in ways we all understand, all of us are speaking together in the ways we all understand, all, ठीक है, जितने लोग खड़े हैं, they have one common medium of communication. Who is looking east at Zhejiang country and who is looking west at Missouri and who is looking at that Egyptian place? Which way is Oriental? हमें क्या पता किधर है Oriental? Why? Because everything has blended here because of language. Yes, Anavi and Yashvi and everybody, yes, so it is indeed 1. Learning another language, this is connected with the main idea. Always remember this. Your paragraph or anything will be connected to the main idea. So learning another language can mitigate vocabulary, reduce cultural hierarchies and barriers. लोगों के बीच क्लेश दूर कर सकता है. Got it? So this is done, right? Effortlessly we could solve this. Correct, guys? Next one. Now, Adrit, you're back. Okay. All right, listen. Now read this question. By now we know what the author is suggesting, है ना? A French ethnographer. French, कहाँ से आया? France से आया. He's studying culture. Decides to study the culture of a Nigerian tribe. He goes to Africa, to Nigeria, to study the people there. Which of the following is most likely to be the view of the author of the passage? Now, if there are people of one place and another place and all, what will our author say? What will he opine on that situation? Go on, read the options and then I'll take you back. ये देख रहे हो, बी माइंडफुल ऑफ हिज रेशियल एंड जेंडर आइडेंटिटी। तू अपने रेस को लेकर के रहना, तू अपनी आइडेंटिटी को खत्म मत होने देना, अपने लैंग्वेज को मत छोड़ना। वुड ही से दैट? नो वे। द ऑथर वुड डिस्करेज द एथनोग्राफर फ्रॉम कंडक्टिंग द स्टडी। ऐसा अपना ऑथर लग रहा है? नो। द ऑथर वुड encourage the ethnographer 1 and 4 and recommend him to hire a good translator for the purpose of holding interviews. Nahi, the author has been saying language seekho, learn the language the way the Chinese had learned the Egyptian language and they were able to sell anything to the women there. So the author would encourage the ethnographer but ask him to first learn the language of this tribe she wishes to study. This way, what will happen? Those people, the Nigerian people, will open up to this person who knows their language. Clear? Yes, guys. Again, such a nice question. It looked intimidating. कैसे करेंगे ये इतना लंबा question? But it was connected to the main idea, right? And this was done effortlessly. हमने अभी जितना देखा, जितना पढ़ा, इस तरह से करके, ठीक है? चलो. Now, authors, critics. So, in case you don't know in the passage कहाँ है critics का, what do? You look at the options. That will give you an idea कि कौन से पैरा से connect करना है. Empathy can overcome identity politics. Last पैरा में बोला तो है identity politics. Language is insufficient to bridge cultural barriers. Okay. Linguistic politics can be erased. Orientalism cannot be practiced by Egyptians. Now think calmly. Author का viewpoint, okay, author का viewpoint and the critics will go against it. So what was the author's viewpoint? Can anybody in the audience tell me that? I just need to know the author's viewpoint in like a few words. Vaishnavi, Muskan, Mehak, Hardik, Saurabh, Siri आप यहाँ हो तो बाकी सब iPhones पे हो क्या रहा है फिर? Anavi, yeah, but what was the author's viewpoint? Exactly, Saurabh. Language can break barriers. Correct. Language can endear you to the local people of a particular place. This is what he said. It can open doors to their heart. It can open opportunities for you. This is what he said. So, उसका exactly opposite कौन सा option है? आप बताओ मुझे. Siri, I was just pulling your leg. Siri and Alexa अपने वो होते हैं ना iPhone पे और Android पे. So I was just teasing you that if you are here, who is doing the work on iPhones? Yeah, exactly, guys. So this is your answer. Yeah. Language is not enough to bridge cultural barriers. Right? Empathy can overcome identity politics. This was not the author's main point जिसको critics argue करेंगे. Right? Linguistic politics can be erased. Orientalism cannot be practiced by Egyptians. So, did the author say that Orientalism can be practiced by Egyptians? Author क्यों बोलेगा कि Orientalism practice करो? So this is the first elimination. Linguistic politics can be erased. Did the author say linguistic politics cannot be erased? Politics, identity politics, na last para mein you can go and check there. But since you've got the answer, okay, true false wale mein generally we don't go for like checking every this thing option. Chalo last one dekhte hain. According to the passage, which of the following is not responsible for language's ability to change us? Okay. Now, teen hain, they are responsible for changing us. You know, just look at the options once, you will know which para to go to. Ups and downs, Language is intrinsic connection to our notions of self and identity. Ability to mediate the impact one is born with, the twists and turns in the evolution of language. I'll take you back. Ability to change us में चले जाओ. I don't think it will be here because इस पैरा में तो ना न्यू यॉर्कर, गार्डियन ये सब की बात की गई है. I think it should be here because as a man of language, he is interested in language, so he is going to explain how language can change us, right? So this presence of mind has to be there. कौन से पैरा में पढ़ना है? Do you see here? Learn to be more sympathetic. It is not inherited. Open to different experiences. This learning process, embarrassments, frustrations, understanding, connection changes us. Correct? मिल गया ये. Now we go over to the question. अब आप eliminate करो. Issue, how can more than one option be correct? Cat है या मजाक है? Come on guys, I'll take you back again, but एक बार options देखो. बहुत ही simple सा question है. Hard for me to believe that this was there in cat. All the 4 questions in this passage were so good and doable that it was not needed for you to actually get into the passage, read every little bit, and in the test, if there is this kind of a passage, you can do all the 4 questions and then move on to the next one. हाँ हार्दिक. Not responsible for language's ability to change us. ये दिख रहा है? Mediate the impact of identity markers one is born with. यहाँ identity markers one is born with. Empathy and understanding are not inherited traits. They are not tied to gender and race. Okay, this learning something something changes us. So identity markers, this is where inference comes in. This is where your vocabulary and interpretation power comes in. Weak interpretation, you will get this wrong. 100% you will mark it wrong. समझ ही नहीं आएगा ये आपको. So the language's ability to mediate the impact of identity markers, inherited जो है उसको कैसे change कर रहा है, transform कर रहा है, this is true. Okay, language's intrinsic connection, inherent connection to our notions of self and identity, 100% true. वही तो बोला है वहाँ. हम कैसे हैं, क्या हैं, what we learn, what we give up, सब कुछ. So I'm left with 1 and 4. All right. Now 1, 4. Okay. The ups and downs involved in the course of learning a language. The difficulties that we face, that may change us. Okay. और दूसरा बोला है twists and turns in the evolution of language itself. I'll take you back here. अब देखो. This learning process, ये दिख रहा है? This learning process. Our process of learning a particular language, let's say Chinese, the embarrassments, speaking ji in place of you, speaking ji in place of oui, right? So these embarrassments because you mean something else, and frustrations because you're not able to do it. Gradual sense of understanding and connection is transformative. So this directly corresponds with which one? This. The ups and downs involved in the course of learning a language. True. So this is your answer. The twists and turns in the evolution of language. Language का जो evolution हुआ है over time, how does that change us? वो language को change करेगा ना, because वो उसका evolution है. How will it change us? No, it won't. So this is the one that we are looking for. And this question Was a little tricky because this involved interpretation. Got it? So, at the end of the session, I would like to tell you this. Please start working on your vocabulary. As 2026 aspirants, you still have a lot of time. And nothing better than daily targets, because these are good, very good for practice. इसमें क्या है? You have to maintain a streak, just like you do on Snapchat. So you have to take the test daily. कितने questions हैं इसमें? 5 maths के, LRDI के 5 and VARC के 4. That's it. दिन में किसी भी time just take the test. Okay, maintain that streak. Do it daily. In case you miss any day and then you want to go back to the test, दरवाजा आपके लिए बंद हो चुका होगा, then you will have to pay 2500 minus 1 rupee in order to get back into the streak. Got it? Otherwise, it's completely free. Where will you find it? दुकानों में नहीं. You just need to go to the dashboard iQuanta का and you will find it there. Okay? अब तक I think 7-8 टेस्ट हो भी चुके हैं. Okay? Attempt daily free test here. नीचे लिंक में भी दिया हुआ है, देख लेना आप वहां से. ये आपके आंसर्स थे, AABD. And once again a reminder, in case you are still thinking कहाँ जाना है, कैट की तैयारी करनी कैसे है 2026 की, verbal ability की कैसे करनी है VARC की, so you know where to find me. All right, just come over. I look forward to seeing you in the classes. Are we done? That's all from my desk tonight, guys. In case you have got any doubt, any point, you can shoot now. Otherwise, in another 5 minutes, I will start packing up. Yashvi, I really loved the way you were attentive in the class and you were coming up with like so many points. That actually keeps the educator interested in the session. So I have to thank you for that. And I really look forward to seeing you again. चले पैकअप करें. किसका डिनर हो गया है, किसका नहीं हुआ है? जिसका नहीं हुआ है वो खाएगा और मुझे भी खिलाएगा. और किसने क्या क्या खाया बताओ मुझे. कभी कभी ऐसा होता है गाइस, सेशन के बिगिनिंग में या एंड में ना, यू चिट चैट फॉर 2-3 minutes and then somehow your nerves calm down. So I try to do this with my students. Identification of the tone. Ashwani, आप अभी तो शुरुआत कर रही हैं. This is for, I mean, you are for 26, right? Fruit bowl खाया तुमने, उफ. हाई फाई, हाँ. जब क्लासेस स्टार्ट हो जाएंगी तो मॉड्यूल्स के एंड डैशबोर्ड्स दोनों के क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करने हैं क्या, वो आपकी मर्जी होगी तुलसी. आपको बहुत और बहुत और बहुत प्रैक्टिस मटेरियल दिया जाएगा. इट डजंट नेसेसरली मीन यू हैव टू डू एवरी सिंगल थिंग जो दिया जा रहा है. अपनी मर्जी से, कन्वीनियंस से, टाइम के हिसाब से डू व्हाट यू वांट. अभी मेरा भी नहीं हुआ है. आई एम फीलिंग हंग्री. बाय द वे, इन केस यू आर वंडरिंग, दिस पास्ता फॉर मी टुडे, चिकन पास्ता. College hostels, chapati and dal, how nice. I love rice, roti, dal, typical Indian food ना. मजा आता है with पापड़. Okay, चले. जिनका डिनर नहीं हुआ है, go and eat guys. Never ever starve yourselves. अभी आपने कैट देना है. आप नहीं जाओगे IIM तो IIM का क्या होगा, बर्बाद हो जाएगा IIM, उसको अगर अच्छे स्टूडेंट्स नहीं मिलेंगे. So feed yourselves both. मुंह से एंड यहाँ भेजे में. ऑल राइट, बनाओगी डिनर? वैष्णवी, दैट्स रियली बैड. चलो जाओ, वील क्लोज द सेशन नाउ. आप जाकर के डिनर बनाओ एंड एवरीबडी आई एम गोइंग टू सी यू अगेन. ऑल राइट. आस्था क्या हो गया? ऑलरेडी एनरोल्ड, सेकेंड ईयर स्टूडेंट. फोकस ऑन बिल्डिंग माई रेज्यूमे टू. फोकस ऑन द प्रेप. आई आस्था, हद से ज्यादा रेज्यूमे पे और बहुत सारी और चीजों से डिस्ट्रैक्शन हो जाता है, देन कैट का परसेंटाइल नीचे चला जाता है. डेली टारगेट्स में 3 RC करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है अश्वनी. ऑल्टरनेट डेज पे 3 RCs करो. डेली 30 मिनट्स की रीडिंग करो. गेट स्टार्टेड विद दीज पॉइंट्स एंड यू विल डेफिनेटली बेनिफिट. ओके, चलिए गाइस.